So, do you think with all this violence that's taking place on these protests, do you think law enforcement, first of all, do they turn the other eye? Number two, do they treat these people, these Antifa thugs, these protesters, differently than they would treat someone who was, let's say, in the street in Baltimore trying to do a similar thing, not as part as a group? Are they being shown some sort of special treatment?
So the issue with Antifa is that when police, if they do respond, they only respond to the hooligans that are on the street, essentially. What makes Antifa dangerous is the ideology. For example, when they say that they engage in self-defense, it's actually offensive, premeditated violence.
Can I ask you about
So
that? So let's stop right there.
yeah,
Premeditated violence. Where do they get their funding? Who comes up with the money for these for the uniforms, for their signs, for their whatever they're throwing at you? Sometimes it's milkshakes, sometimes it's other things. Who funds these people?
this is what I'm trying to find out. It's the way the groups are organized is opaque. Nobody knows, and their quote unquote membership is entirely from the outside. All the members are anonymous. So there needs to be the federal authorities need to step in and look at how they're organized, who they're connected to, where their funding sources coming from. I have my suspicions on certain businesses, particularly in the Pacific Northwest, that host events for Antifa causes, and I suspect that there may be a funding in relation to that. But this requires investigation. It's a bigger issue than any local jurisdiction can handle, because it's a national movement, international movement. So federal authorities must take Antifa more seriously.
Um, we can point them out, but there's also we see a lot of these fights that the far right group, the Proud Boys, tend to show up at the same type of protest. It just looks like both sides seemingly are looking for a fight.
In what I've witnessed in covering these protests in Portland since 2016 is right-wing groups will come in to make a statement. For example, they know that stating their support for Donald Trump, or even just being patriotic with the flag, is seen as quote unquote provocative in the city. And whenever they come, frequently, almost all the time, Antifa and their allies will come to physically confront them, and these protests then devolve into riots. So what I've seen is the Proud Boys, Antifa starts the fight, and the Proud Boys finish the fight.